AMD RX Vega leaked benchmark shows it ahead of GTX 1080, specs confirmed, 1630 MHz clock, speed, 8 GB HBM2 and amp. 484 GB per second of bandwidth. We finally have gotten our hands on a legitimate 3D Mark entry pertaining to AMD's upcoming RX Vega gaming graphics card. This particular database entry is of the flagship reference RX Vega board, code-named 687F-C1, and not only does it confirm several pieces of info regarding the board's specifications, it has also given us a glimpse into what to expect from AMD's upcoming high-end offering in terms of performance. So without any further ado, let's get into the juicy bits. AMD Radeon RX Vega, specs confirmed, 1630 MHz GPU clock speed, 8 GB HBM2 at 945 MHz and amp. 484 GB per second of memory bandwidth. The clock speed represents a modest 30 MHz improvement over the Vega Frontier Edition, and the HBM2 frequency is identical to that of Vega FE, which translates to 484 GB per second of bandwidth. This, funnily enough, translates to 1 GB per second of bandwidth per millimeter squared, as Vega 10 is 484 millimeters squared large. In terms of memory capacity, as expected, this board, which we expect to be the Vega 10 flagship in the RX lineup, comes equipped with 8 GB of HBM2, rather than the exuberant 16 GB of the Vega FE. RX Vega to be faster in gaming than Frontier Edition 2, delivers 16 GB of memory in 2 HBM2 stacks in the Vega Frontier Edition. Each stack has to be 8 high. HBM2 stacks are considerably more expensive and difficult to produce compared to standard 4 high HBM2 stacks, which is why it makes all the sense in the world for AMD to opt for the 8 GB option on its gaming Vega card, at least for now. Before we proceed to the 3D Mark 11 performance benchmarks, there are a few significant developments that have occurred since we last saw a Vega 687F-C1 engineering sample, which I'd like to highlight. First things first, the clock speed has seen a considerable bump to 1630 MHz from 1200 MHz, and HBM2 clock speed has also seen a very significant jump from 700 MHz to 945 MHz. If you go back to our deep dive article on AMD's Vega 687F-C1 board, you will discover that we have in fact predicted that this will happen. Not only that, we also accurately predicted how this will affect the card's performance standing against the competition from NVIDIA. If you haven't read the article, I'd highly advise you to do so before you proceed, as it will serve as a crucial preface for the 3D Mark 11 performance figures you're about to see.